Hey bro, let's get a glimpse at how kings think. Kings strive to live in reality. They want no part of the futile existence that comes through purposeful ignorance. No, they want the freedom that comes from resting on the principles of extreme ownership. Freedom bred out of responding positively to their failures, trials, and adverse circumstances. Freedom that only comes with understanding the depth of the massive role they play in any situation they find themselves in. They know this sounds radical, and it is. But they also know that they must live radically in order to achieve radically extraordinary results. So now that you've seen a glimpse of a king, ask yourself, are you among them? My name is Logan, and on this channel, I help you understand that you, in fact, are a king. And as such, it's time to think like a king. And in so doing, you will live like a king. So we're diving into radical responsibility today and why it's an endeavor that you should be pursuing.
One thing in business is honesty, integrity, hard work, family, never forgetting where we came from. See, you are what you are in this world. That's either one or two things. Either you're somebody or you're nobody.
So let's kick it off with the definition of what radical responsibility even is. And that's the understanding that no matter what circumstances you find yourself in, you play a large role in the outcome. You look for solutions instead of looking for something or someone to blame. And if you do look for someone to blame, you stare right in the mirror and take the blame on yourself. Now, of course, there are dangers to living this way because it is a double-edged sword. Now, one edge is beautiful and produces freedom, as we'll discuss, because it allows us to do something about our situations instead of being subject to them. But the other edge produces suffering. And it does this by laying our situations bare. See, you can no longer live in the bliss of ignorance. By taking ownership, you have accepted the call to do something about your situation, no matter how painful that may be. And in this way, you will suffer. So this is where I must provide you with a warning that if you embark on this journey, there is no going back. You'll never be able to unsee the role you play in any circumstance that you find yourself in. And you won't be able to call on the mindset of the victim as your solace any longer. You will be subject to the reality that you have much to say in your response to any situation. So please understand this going in and frame your mind accordingly. Know that taking complete ownership can make it feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Now, this is where I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that the weight of the world is not actually on your shoulders. Because there is a king in heaven to whom you can turn, and that is where I suggest you look first. But nonetheless, radical responsibility can make you feel bogged down and hopeless. But here comes the beauty. Because when you're suffering in this way, what does that produce? Perseverance. When you have to face trials that test you and push you, and yet you continue to press on in the face of this adversity, you are cultivating an extreme trait of perseverance. And this is why perseverance breeds character. Character here being who you are, your inner being. Perseverance creates someone who will walk with integrity, never sacrifice their morality, and be victorious in their battles. See, character provides the evidence of who you are. You are now someone who understands the truth of suffering. You're someone who understands what it truly means to have faith and rest on the principles that you know to be true. So through perseverance bred from suffering, you have now cultivated the character of someone who's been through fire. And now you can face many more. And this is where the most powerful construct known to man is truly amplified. And that is hope. Because now you have evidence of who you are. When the next storm comes, and it will, you know that through faith you will weather this one as well. But see, you can only get to this point through taking responsibility in the first place. Because if you just wallow in your suffering and blame the world, you'll never take steps towards perseverance. And thus, hope won't be waiting for you. So as dangerous as it may be, to practice extreme responsibility and take ownership for all of our situations, I promise it is not nearly as painful as continuing to live in a world of unfruitful suffering. Because no matter what, we're going to suffer. so let it at least be used to produce hope. So now you're seeing that even the dangerous side of the sword of radical responsibility has a radically positive effect. But now let's take a look at the other edge, the inherently positive edge of ownership. So when we think of ourselves taking responsibility, we often see it with this negative connotation, like we've done something wrong and now we have to own up to it. It sort of shackles us to the consequences of our actions. But let me challenge you with a different perspective. See, the bondage is actually much stronger when we don't take the responsibility, and especially when we've made a mistake. See, the first step to any type of healing is understanding that something is broken. If you allow yourself to live under some facade that you have no control over any of your situations, you'll never be able to do anything about them. And this is why ignorance is not truly bliss at all. Because now you've subjected yourself to continue to live unhealed. Because with ignorance, you'll believe you must accept your current reality no matter what that is, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now those are the true shackles. That is hopelessness. So understand the freedom that actually comes with radical responsibility. Now you can do something to change your circumstances. No matter what life hits you with, you have a voice. You have a say. You're in a much better position to learn and grow because you're someone who can admit their faults and truly learn from your mistakes. And you have freedom from trying to be perfect. Radical responsibility inherently understands that you are far from perfect because you have faced this truth time and time again. And so now you're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to fail. And failure will produce more growth than you can even fathom. So those were the two edges of the sword. Now I want to discuss just two of the many specific benefits that come from radical responsibility. And the first is its ability to forge you into a leader. So it's true that we have this negative connotation surrounding accepting responsibility for mistakes that we've made, and that this means that we must now admit our faults. But when others see you doing this, it actually attracts them to you. You will garner their respect. They'll see you as somebody who is honest, as somebody who walks with integrity. They'll desire to be like you. They will want to become someone who can respond to their own situations and feel like they have some control in their life. And because they see you doing this through this responsibility that you carry, they'll want to follow you, and this will allow you to lead them. Because in order for somebody to want to follow you, you have to show them a glimpse of who they want to be. And as someone who takes ownership yourself, you'll be in the best position to do this. Not only due to the inherent and positive nature of them seeing you take responsibility, but also because you always seem to bounce back after defeat. You're resilient during adversity and you always end up back on top. And this will be true since you'll be continuously following the suffering to hope pathway that we discussed earlier. So in wanting that for themselves, they'll be inclined to listen to you. And in this way, you can impact the world by pouring into others and helping them grow. Now, the second specific benefit of radical responsibility that we'll discuss today lies in its ability to attract the right people into your life. It will attract people filled with wisdom and help you avoid fools. Your radical ownership will be so apparent that it will shine a spotlight on anyone who lacks it. And those types of people won't be able to live in your presence for very long. So your very nature will force most of these fools out. Now, I do believe that you also need to be intentional about the company that you keep. Because some people will stick around under the guise of your friend only to suck the life out of you. And I actually made a video on what to do about these imposter friends, so just check that out if you're interested. But the beauty here is that for the most part, radical ownership will actually attract the people who are also living this way. And so now you have others to be on this journey of radical responsibility with you. And don't sleep on this. For a brother is born for times of adversity. You can push each other and sharpen each other, provide accountability, and grow together. So utilize extreme ownership and attract these brothers of wisdom into your life. So please, King, I implore you to live in the beauty and the freedom that comes with a life of radical responsibility. Yes, understand the dangers, but move forward with the confidence and the benefits. Now, if you got anything from this video, please drop it a like and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you in the family. But now it's time for me to serve as your reminder. Always put the work in, and from there, leave it in the hands of the one true King. Stay kingly.